What is going on? And happy Friday. Yours truly, Ryan Van Dever, and I am here with the inaugural episode, The Burn. A little bit of background on me. I have always wanted to have a sports platform that doesn't emphasize politics, religion, or just mainly talking crap on individuals that are political or are showing their religion. Just want this platform to be completely political free. You will never see any politics from me. You will never see any judgment from me on different religions. This is 100% going to be completely unfiltered and off the cuff. Oh, I hope you guys enjoy. By the way, you like my new hat? It's good, right? All right, so let's go ahead and get started today. So this episode is going to be about the Olympics. Yeah, I know. I'm sure the Olympics has been shoved down your throat, but it hasn't been shoved down your throat by me. It's going to have my opinions, my hot takes, my in-depth analysis on everything that has been going on in the Olympics, or everything that's popular. So here we go. Simone Biles, she had her competition today. It was the all-around program. Let's just go ahead and say it. Simone Biles is the greatest female gymnast ever, and it's not even close. But one thing that can even be said more further is the fact that she's probably the greatest. I'll rephrase that. She is the greatest male or female gymnast in the history of the United States. She just got another gold today for her all-around competition. So that means she has 9 Olympic medals, 6 gold medals, and 30 world championship medals. She's now the most decorated gymnast in the history, passing Shannon Miller, who won 7 Olympic medals. Now, she actually passed Shannon Miller a couple days ago when Team USA won the team competition. It's crazy to me. Like, she is so far above and beyond everybody's level that the competition, you have to be walking into this competition thinking, I have no shot in hell. Simone Biles is here. We're screwed. Yeah, in the last Olympics, it didn't go as well because she had the issue with the twisties. But at this point, and she is the oldest gymnast, I believe, since 1972 to win a gold medal in the all-around competition. Moving on, she holds the record for the most U.S. titles in history with 32 overall. That is freaking wild. And 9 each in all-around vault, balance beam, and floor exercise. Now, a little bit of background with Simone Biles. She made her Olympic debut at the 2016 Rio de Janeiro Games, where she won gold in the all-around, the team, floor, vault exercises, and won a bronze on the balance beam. If you want to say anything about Simone Biles having a weakness, it's probably the balance beam. And she still got a bronze medal in those Olympics. Now, at the 2020 Games, the Tokyo Games, she won 2 more gold medals before withdrawing, as I said earlier, due to the twisties. Biles is also a 9-time U.S. all-around champion and 7-time U.S. champion in the vault, balance beam, and the floor exercise. Yesterday, come out, and basically she was being salty the entire time, saying something along the lines of, the only thing that Simone Biles offers is difficulty in her performance. They aren't entertaining. All right, Russia, you stop. Know that Simone Biles can whip anybody's ass on that mat any day of the week. So let's just get that out of the way. So basically, there's a reason why she's the GOAT of female gymnastics. I'll just go ahead and say it. Male gymnastics as well, if you actually want to combine the two. She's the most decorated gymnast in the history. We have never seen anything like this. Simone Biles is just beyond her time. Now, it's going to be interesting to see what she does next. It hasn't come out that she's retired from the Olympics or that anything is going on with her. So we're just definitely going to have to see what comes out the coming days. Do you know her husband now is going to be reporting to Chicago Bears training camp? And let's just get into that. Like, what kind of organization is going to let you have time off to go watch like the GOAT of gymnastics? Like, hats off to the Chicago Bears. Like, you didn't have to do that. And that's probably something that he's never, ever going to forget. Last night, USA men's basketball team played South Sudan. So Simone Biles is basically, as I already said, the GOAT. But is anybody even going to come close to breaking her records for medals, whether it becomes World Championships or the Olympics? I would like to say, let's talk about Jonathan Owens. A little bit of football thrown into here. Jonathan Owens is a safety for the Bears. He's 29 years old. Basically, the Bears said, okay, we'll let you take some time off. You won't have to come to training camp. You can go to the Olympics and watch your GOAT wife basically just destroy the gymnastics competition. Hats off to the Chicago Bears for even letting him do that, because I wouldn't think a lot of organizations would do something like that, because once football starts, like, it's go time. But from what I heard, they're just going to ease him into training camp, which is definitely going to be good for his development, because he's not like a superstar safety. He signed with the Chicago Bears in the offseason after playing for the Packers this past season. So it's going to be interesting to see how his football career develops. I know Simone Biles is going to be on the sidelines watching him play. So that is going to be eye catcher for everyone. Everyone, especially last season, all the fans were always tripping out that she was at the game, because you just don't see gymnasts, especially popular ones, out in the public, and definitely not standing on the sidelines in Green Bay when it's freaking completely frozen out there. Moving on, the USA men's basketball team. What happened was they played a game against South Sudan. Now, if you remember much about the last matchup, the United States kind of struggled against South Sudan. People were saying that South Sudan is world beaters. They're going to go far into this tournament in the Olympics because they have speed, they have agility, they space the floor. They're really good on the perimeter. Their defense is great. Like, go up and down the list, really. South Sudan really impressed in that last exhibition game 12 days ago. The United States ended up beating South Sudan, but man, they struggled. They ended up winning by 1 point, 101 to 100 in that game. So on Wednesday, Team USA played South Sudan, but this matchup wasn't even close. From the beginning of the game to the end, Team USA completely dominated in every aspect of this game. So Team USA is going to be in the quarterfinals, no matter what they do against Puerto Rico. But Puerto Rico, in their last game, they ended up losing by 40-plus points to Serbia. So I don't really foresee this matchup with the United States being much of a challenge for them. I know, hot take of the year. going back to the South Sudan game, this was a statement game for the USA. But let's just go ahead and get into the details of the game. Why were they good against South Sudan this time? Well, this time, one major thing they did was they respected their competition. They didn't really know who South Sudan was. They damn sure didn't know who the hell their players were. So they found out that they couldn't sleep on South Sudan. They have 3-point shooters. They're fast. They defend well, and they create spacing. With that speed, creates spacing on the court. It's just they knew that they couldn't come into this game and just walk away with it. It wasn't gonna be basically. When the players in the NBA, they always use this phrase: you can't play with your food. They didn't play with their food this time. They did in their exhibition game. That's obvious. But USA came out and they asserted dominance early. They had better ball movement. Everybody was getting touches. Everybody. And when it comes to a team like the USA, when you got good wing players, good players in the post, like everybody was getting touches. And when the United States plays that way, they're going to be massively difficult to beat. But one thing that was interesting, there was a big charade that Jason Tatum didn't play in their first game. Like, how dare you not play Jason Tatum? How dare you? He's a world champion on the Boston Celtics, one of the best players in the world. Well, they didn't play him because his gameplay didn't match up with Serbia. That's why. Steve Kerr can say whatever he wants and try to cover his ass. But it doesn't work that way. Like, if you look at the lineup, you are easily going to see that he didn't match up that game. Embiid, they needed the size. Obviously, Embiid isn't quick, but they needed Embiid's size to match up with Jokic. It's fairly simple. The sports media out there trying to make a big deal that he didn't play because question mark. It didn't make any sense. There was only one reason why Tatum didn't play. Now, there were multiple reasons why Halliburton didn't play, but I won't get into that. So Tatum ended up getting his first action of the Olympics. Should he have played the first game against Serbia? Yes, because damn, that boy was rusty. He was shaky. When he first got in the game, it was like I use a phrase a lot, running around like a chicken with his head cut off. Yeah, that's pretty much what it looked like. In the beginning, he was really shaky. Eventually, he settled in, but he needed to play against Serbia. That's what was important. So in this game, he wouldn't have had that kind of rust. But FIBA is different intensity. The rules are more loose. The referees do not call as many calls like the NBA referees would, for example. And FIBA is just more physical. So Kerr had to choose before Tatum had to choose Tatum or Embiid, and Tatum was the better fit for this game. And South Sudan is a lot quicker. They space the floor more, and they have better perimeter shooters than Serbia did. Well, they went with Tatum. He was the better fit. Let's get into Bam Adebayo. Bam had one hell of a game. I'm thinking the Miami Heat right now are trying to figure out where was this guy during the regular season? Because he shows up, he disappears, shows up, disappears. He's such a streaky shooter. You don't even know who's going to show up most of the time. But after this game, 18 points, rebounds. Although the second half wasn't good, he didn't match the same intensity he had in the first half because he is a streaky shooter. What ended up happening was, he was basically the X factor besides the second team, the bench players. Now, one massive thing that really needs to happen for Team USA and see that USA Canada final. It's really just sticking in my craw like that is what's going to end up happening. Canada, you got Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. That dude is a world beater. Plays for Oklahoma City Thunder, if you don't know. Basically ended up getting second for the MVP vote. I mean, I did a YouTube video. You can check that out, and you can see why I think he should have won the damn thing. But, I digress. But Steph needs to find his place. He has not found his place he's not found his place on this team. The first game there were a couple of highlights where he did a step back and he did his patented turned around, not looking at the basketball goal to see if it went in. Yeah, we've all seen it. So the problem is when USA is going up against these quicker teams, he's not going to be able to find his shot because the rotations are going to come over, double team him, but Kevin Durant or LeBron James or Bam Adebayo may be wide open. And then he won't be able to have his shot, but others will be able to get theirs. But slower teams seem to give him more space, which is what he got against Serbia. Teams like South Sudan, as we saw Wednesday night, going to give him any space, any breathing room whatsoever. But he is going to need to find his sweet spots because if they are able to reach the final and they end up playing Canada, it's gonna be everyone on deck. You're gonna need absolutely everyone. Do I think Canada can beat the United States? No. They do not have Kevin Durant on the bench. They do not have a sharpshooter, a great defender like Derek White on the bench. These players that are coming off of the bench for the United States is just absolutely ridiculous. And the Canada doesn't have that kind of depth. They have great players for the starting positions, but when it comes to depth, they do not have that. So the question is, what is Kerr going to do with Embiid? Because if you really get into it, Embiid should not even be on the United States team. He had two options that he could have played for. He could have played for Cameroon, or he could have played for France, who a newer civilian for that country. I personally think he should have played for France. He was going to have more opportunities. He was going to be able to play a little bit faster, if I say so, for France. It's not a good fit. I mean, Embiid isn't a great fit for FIBA play to begin with. FIBA play is faster, it's more aggressive, you get away with more calls, but he doesn't have that. And the problem with Embiid is if that offense doesn't flow around him, like look at the 76ers. If you've watched any 76ers games, that offense flows through him. He's going to determine who's going to take that shot. So Embiid, he's going to have plenty of touches, and he may not have the final shot, but he's going to determine who is going to get that final shot because the offense is flowing through him. Right now, the United States offense does not flow through him. Like, not at all. It almost makes me feel like Steve Kerr had this master plan. Laugh at me all you want, please. This master plan was, hey, don't go play for France. We want you on this team. Because he knows if he ends up playing for France, you got Wemby. He can team up with Wemby. I don't know. You got Rudy Gobert. Hey, I'm just saying. I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but I'm just saying, man, there could have been a deal on the table. I know why he didn't play for Cameroon, because he saw Cameroon as a team that wasn't going to compete for a gold medal, silver, or a bronze for that matter. That's why that happened. But France, hey, there might have been a deal on the table for Steve Kerr. You never know. So I had to do it. I had to add football into this Olympic special. So let's get right into it. Flag football is coming into the Olympics in 2028 to LA. I'm not going to touch on this very, very long. Next week, I'm going to get more further into detail on this, but I just wanted to touch base with it for a little bit. So it is flag football. It's not contact football. Darn. Flag football isn't quite as entertaining as contact football to me, because I grew up just watching the hits, like Ronnie Lott, Steve Atwater. Yeah, if you don't know who those guys are, just go ahead and Google that and look at some of the hits that they gave to other players. I would have hated to be a wide receiver running a corner route. That's all I'm going to say about that. But American football, or American flag football, is coming to the Olympics in 2028. Now, one thing I will say about the NFL is they have done one hell of a bang-up job with making American football a global sport for years. Like, they've been going to London. They've been going to London pretty frequently, every year for years now. But this year they're going to Germany, just like last year, and they're going to London, and now they're going to be going to Brazil. And it's officially going to be an Olympic sport. So let's get into some of the rules. There's going to be 2 events, one for men, one for women. It's going to be 5-on-5, not 11-on-11 like other people have said. It's 5-on-5. Now, there's a couple questions that are going to need to be answered. And it's an if, because it hasn't been confirmed yet, if the NFL players are allowed to play, this is an automatic goal. There's no ifs and buts about it. USA is going to destroy the competition with ease. And it's just, it won't, like, it's going to be watchable, but honestly, how many people are going to watch, like, the United States beat Brazil? Like, 97-0. Yeah, that's basically what it's going to be. Whatever coach the United States has, they're going to have to pump the brakes in the first freaking quarter. Could you imagine Tyreek Hill, Mahomes, or Burrow, Justin Jefferson? Like, this is nauseating to even think. But one thing that really needs to be discussed is the timeline of the whole thing. So the Olympics are going on right now. Well, what else is going on in the NFL right now? It's called training camp. Yeah, it may not mean a lot. More injuries are coming out in the NFL. So I don't know. Maybe you'd rather get injured in the Olympics. Maybe. But those logistics are going to have to be figured out, because a lot of teams, they test out a lot of offensive, defensive schemes, trying to figure out their depth chart and whatnot during training camp. Especially if you're picked in the later rounds in the draft, you're trying to figure out what you got. Now, those players particularly won't play in the Olympics if they are going to go with NFL players, but you're still going to have to figure those logistics out. Like, it doesn't quite make sense to me. Something's going to have to give there. Like, are you going to start the NFL season like maybe a month later? Are fans going to be on board with that? I don't know. I mean, by then, it might be an 18-game season, and the preseason is gone to begin with. But a lot more information needs to be released about this for even the greatest of pundits to have their hot takes. But you're obviously going to have to do your training with your team. So they're going to have to figure that out. Now, from what I saw, there's a 12-week training for flag football. So that's going to have to be adjusted. That means you're not going to have any OTAs. There's definitely not going to be any training camp. So, yeah. I'm basically going to be training on all the plays, and I don't know. I don't even think, like, if you're the coach of the flag football team, like, is there anything that Tyreek Hill can't do? Do you need to see him do an end around or an end around power and pass back to the quarterback and turn it into a flea flicker type play? Do you need to see that? I mean, you can practice it, but you definitely don't need to practice no end arounds or stupid drag routes, or you're not practicing for protection, obviously, because, anybody who's played flag football knows, hey, it's 5-second count. So whatever. That was one hell of a rant. Thank you for listening to that. This is Hot Side. Let's just continue. The players want in. The NFL players want in. The NFL wants the players to play. And more importantly, the NFL Players Association is on board as well. So this is going to be a developing story. This is going to be highly interesting to see. The Olympic Committee ends up saying, hey, we don't really want your stars to play because, it's not going to be very entertaining. But in the NFL's eyes, you also have to think about the development of the, like, it's been developed over the years internationally. Like, you're getting more players to play in these international leagues. We just saw a tournament for players 21 and under, where the United States just got throttled by Japan and Canada, I believe. Don't quote me on that one, but it was just, they were just getting destroyed. But those are like high school kids. I equivalent that to like 3-star recruits coming out of high school, because they definitely weren't 5-star blue chip athletes going to Alabama, going to Michigan, Ohio State, all those places. But do you take a risk on getting an automatic gold, or do you go ahead and get players that are backups that could still win gold, but also develop the international scene? That's what really needs to be discussed here. I know Mahomes wants to play. All these players wants to play. Justin Jefferson, Tyreek Hill, like, all these players want to play. But you're going to be playing and getting a gold automatically in sacrificing the international game. I know that if I was a kid and I saw flag football in the Olympics, and say my team was Spain and they just got throttled, like, that's going to affect you in a way. Not to get all psychological on you, but I mean, facts are the facts. So next week, I'm going to touch on this a little more. I'm going to come up with my dream team for flag football 2028 Olympics in Los Angeles. This is the part of the show where everybody's been waiting for. So the last thing I really want to touch on, and this is, it hit the news today, and it just wasn't a good look. So there was a boxing match in the Olympics. There was an Algeria boxer named Imani Khalif, and they won the Olympic fight when Angela Carini quit. There was 46 seconds in this fight of competition in this Paris ring. Yeah, 46 seconds. Now, Karini, she ended up not shaking Khalif's hand. I know. Ensue controversy. After Khalif's hand was raised, but she cried in the ring after sinking to her knees. Minutes afterward, a still tearful Karini said she quit because of the pain from those opening punches. Khalif, the boxer that won, was disqualified in 2023 World Championships after failing an unspecified gender eligibility test. Yeah, I'm not going to get too much into this, but because this has already been a massively divisive issue. But what I will say is, if you're a man with man parts and you go into the ring and fight a woman with woman parts, there's going to be an issue. Men are scientifically stronger than women. It's completely obvious. So there's just no damn reason for this to even happen. If you even look up the video, Khalif is punching through Karini's blocks. Every time she throws up a block, just punches right through it, like it's nothing. So she had no defense whatsoever because she physically couldn't defend. Something needs to be done about this. Something should have already been done about this. This is a bad look for the 2024 Olympics in Paris. If she was disqualified from the 2023 World Championships, there should be no damn reason whatsoever for her to be fighting against women. So you can hate me all you want, but that's a... You look at it like this. Let's go a little deeper first. Men generally are stronger physically. Okay? Yeah, there's some women out there. I've seen some women out there that are straight up jacked. But men generally, they have more muscle, more proteins in their muscles. That's why men always outlift women in weightlifting competitions. That's why you could put a high schooler, I'm sure you've seen these videos, you could put a high schooler up against a WNBA player, a high schooler male, up against a WNBA player. And the high schooler is going to win, unless you're playing Asia Wilson, in which I think a Shaq would have to go up against her, but whatever. But honestly, this stuff needs to come to an... Like, we're tuning in to watch the Olympics because it's sports. That's why I'm watching. I'm watching gymnastics. I'm watching, swimming. Records are being broken. I'm going to be watching track and field. You're watching basketball. Like, you watch it because you love sports, but seeing something like this is... You don't want to see it. Men do not belong in the same ring as women. Period. So that is it for the very first episode of The Burn. So if you have not already, go ahead and invite your friends and family to enjoy this podcast that I put my heart and soul into every single time I'm going to do it. There's going to be interviews of local people here in my area, and there's going to be interviews of athletes, college athletes, high school athletes, you name it. There's going to be everything in this show, along with the hot takes, along with just the in-depth analysis, the opinions, everything you can ask for. The one thing that won't be in it is, you guessed it, politics. So go ahead and invite your friends, your family, to come follow and subscribe. And if you're not following me on Facebook, then you're definitely missing out on great sports content throughout the day. So go ahead and hit that like, that subscribe button, and help me out. That way I can continue to do this podcast and you will continue to support me. So thank you for all the support and all that you guys do. And I hope everyone enjoys your Friday.